Well, viewers, welcome to what I think is an exclusive for this country, which is bizarre for my channel, but I think it is. This is a 2022 Peugeot e-Rifter, and the reason why the camera is in a completely weird place is because, one, that's the only place it fits, and secondly, this car's left-hand drive because it was actually bought in France. It's an August 2021 car, but I'm going to call it a 2022 model because literally February 2022, when we're recording this, the car has arrived for UK sale. And, you know, maybe you'd say, why aren't you doing it on Tweed Jacket Reviews? Well, I happen to be in the area. Mr. Jackson, who's had many electric cars appear on my channel, happens to be the owner of this car, and well, we just thought we'd go for a little spin in it because that's what we do, and it does seem to be quite a lot of fun. Much as I'd like to be doing this test down in Cannes or something, I'm actually in Hertfordshire. We're just going down what was formerly the A1. In the normal mode, there are 3 modes in this car: Eco, Normal, and Power. Despite the fact that this is a French specification car, it says Power on the dash, which, you know, I don't know. And also, it's not e-Rifter, it is e-Rifter, even in France, which I think is really strange. So, in the normal mode, I've got 107 horsepower. In the eco mode, it's 80 horsepower. That's generally for city driving. And in the power mode, 134 horsepower. What's really strange about this car is the powertrain in it. Now, it does make a bit more sense when you think about what other cars are on this platform. Things like the Vauxhall Corsa and Corsa E, the Peugeot 208s and E208, the 2008 and E208, sorry, E2008, and then things like the Citroen C4, and I think it's called the EC4, from what I remember. So these vans, the Toyota Proace City, the Vauxhall Combo or Opel Combo, the Citroen Berlingo, all also share this platform. Now, you can get petrol versions of the Toyota Proace City, let's get that right, but you can't actually have any other ones with the seats. So the Berlingo Multispace, the Combo Life, they don't come with a combustion engine anymore. Obviously, we don't talk about diesel on this channel, but you can get a 1.2 3-cylinder turbo engine with some of these as well in the normal van form. Apart from the Toyota, now the Toyota doesn't come under the same regulations as the rest of the range, which are, you know, offered by European manufacturers. So they actually still offer combustion engines of the passenger version. It's all very confusing, but when I drove the Corsa E on the channel a long time ago, which was 2 years ago now, that was able to do 201 miles on a WLTP cycle between charges. This can't do that because it's a much heavier vehicle with poorer aerodynamics. It's also a lot larger. This actually comes in medium and extra large wheelbase size, M or XL. This top of the range GT version only comes in this medium length. There is an XL for the Allure Premium, which is the base trim. It's not really the base trim because it's got all sorts of stuff in it, like, I think that was lane keeping assist going off there. That was annoying. Lane keeping assist and, you know, cruise control with speed limit function and lane departure warning and all kinds of other exciting things. So it costs in a region of £33,000 for the medium version. The XL version, that's £2,000 on top of it. That is the same price as this GT version. Obviously in France this car's been out a fair bit longer than in this country, and so you can pick these up for a little bit less if you're there. Obviously that's not relevant to most people. So this car costs around £35,000. It's a shame the government grant doesn't cover anything like this anymore, but you know, there we go. It's very, very, very easy to drive. 0 to 60 in this, I imagine maybe 10 seconds if you're lucky. Might not do a test of that today, we might just actually stick to normal driving, I think. One of the great things about this, though, apart from the sheer practicality of it, is that you can charge this on a 100 kilowatt charger, and actually 0 to 80% takes around half an hour, I believe. That's very, very good for something like this. It is only a 50 kilowatt hour battery, so it's not the biggest, and when you compare this to something like the long range MG ZS EV, which has a 273 mile range in WLTP cycle, then it does suffer a bit. Even the standard range new facelifted ZS EV does 199 miles, so you've got to be very selective about what exactly you want your car to do. However, in the world of 7-seat electric vehicles, this is fantastic. It's much cheaper than, I think, virtually anything else that doesn't share this design. Obviously you can buy the Citroen and the Toyota and the Vauxhall versions of this in this country, or you will be about to be. But yeah, it's just really easy to drive. I can just change the settings, I'll put it back into eco because we're off the faster roads now. Steering is really light. The only thing is, I have absolutely no idea whatsoever what the front wheels are doing. So that is maybe a bit of a problem, maybe it's not, and after all it is a van, you're not going to be handling like a sports car. Actually the body roll is a bit less than what I expected. Right, let's go and park up and just take a look around this extremely practical electric car. So here we are again back at Northman's Park, a filming location used a lot by the channel, and also from the 30s right the way through to, I don't know, the 1980s in film and television, because Elstree Studios and other studios in Boreham Wood are just down the road from here. But anyway, this GT version, it does look rather nice. Obviously you've got the beam converters on the headlamps because we're driving a French specification car on UK roads, so you do need those. I think this looks better than some of the other versions of this design. Obviously we've got 4 versions of this design, and I think this Peugeot version does look quite good. Obviously the fashion these days is to make everything into an SUV, and that's why we've got sort of body cladding and things like that on it. 17-inch wheels on here with I imagine special Goodyear tyres. The doors are, well, they're very big. I mean, on the XL version of this car, you get even more room, but still loads of room. And there's even a USB socket just down there. It's actually a proper one, it's not a USB-C. You'd have to tug these handles quite a lot to actually close the door. In fact, you have to, oh, you can do that. That's better. Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
You're welcome.
But you can see straight away, this, you know, this is a Peugeot partner van. It just is. And people who tell you it's not like a van, well, it is. It is a van. It's got the same tailgate as a lot of them would have. But that's not really a problem. I mean, you know, if you're paying this kind of money for this sort of practicality, it's really good. Particularly if you don't do long journeys all the time, then this will be absolutely fine. So from place in Brittany, there is the Breton word for Brittany there. It's a bit like, you know, going to Cornwall and speaking Cornish. But you're going to need these parking sensors and reversing camera. We've got the little silver flash on there. There's 2 ways of opening the boot. There's this way, which is like an old BMW 3 Series Touring. but I'm going to be very careful that I don't, you know, smash the window or something. This parcel shelf here will actually take 25 kilograms. So you can actually load this up quite well, as long as you don't put anything too heavy on it. And that's quite useful just for throwing things in like this, but you don't want to then come sort of a bit further this way and open the main boot, which you're going to need a considerable length behind you to open that, so don't park anywhere too close. What that will mean though is this car will be fantastic to people for wheelchair conversions. It'll be brilliant. So you can fold this back like this. I'm not going to fiddle with it too much. And you can see we've actually got the, I would call this like a dicky seat or something in the back, or a jump seat, whatever you want to call it. They're not sort of the most capacious for adults. I'm not even going to bother getting in there. I'm just not going to bother today. But Richard's very kindly arranged this so that you can see what it's like to have the seats in here, but also see how much space there is, because you can move this parcel shelf up again like this, and it's 775 litres of boot space, which is astonishing. For contrast, something like an MG ZSUV is 448 litres, and a Volkswagen ID3 is about 370. So, wow. So those are two very comparably priced cars, and you know, those are both cars that are currently in the Jackson family, so we're all very familiar with those. We've even got here cup holders for people who've got very short legs sitting in the back, and that is a 12-volt socket. Apologies for the rays of light coming in, there's not much we can do about that. You do have to make sure though that these special clips to put the seat belts in there are there. And unfortunately you've got the 7 kilowatt cable here, and there's nowhere actually to just dump that. That won't unfortunately fit into the sort of myriad storage cubbies which are sort of towards the front of the car. You just have to have it loose in the back, but it does actually fit behind the seats if you have them up, so that's okay. So we just make sure we close this. You do have to do that quite deliberately. It's not too bad. So if I come in this side and make sure the child lock's not on, I'll just leave this open. There we go. So USB is being used already with my little MiFi there. One thing that's unique about the e-Rifter as opposed to the Berlingo or the Combo or the Proace City is the fact we've got 3 individual seats in the back. You can see that's for Mr. Jackson's daughter in there. And if I'm going to have to close this without closing it, just about there, so I don't get stuck. We've got electric windows in the back. These windows actually go down. I know in a lot of sort of older sort of passenger carrying vans, you'd have like pop-up windows or something like that. This has got full electric windows in it. It's even got some sort of storage space in there. I'm going to be very careful I don't close myself in here, but that's the way you get out. So open that again to make sure I don't get stuck. And picnic tables, just like that. That's really good. You could have an iPad or something on there. And I think these are unzippable things for pockets and stuff. It's pretty handy. Got adjustable fan speed, 2 armrests for the captain's chairs. This seat actually folds completely down, and in a second I'll show you how this this seat folds as well. So extraordinary practicality, and also I could wear a top hat in here and I'd still have room. In fact, there's room up here for all the secret mission documents you're ever going to need in your entire life up there, which is absolutely crazy. It feels pretty comfortable. So I'll just get out here. I'll just show you this particular seat here, just how it sort of tumbles forward. I should have put that down, shouldn't I? There we go. There you go. That's it. It's really easy, just like that. And the seatbelt doesn't actually get snagged, you just pull it out. You don't actually need to worry about that. It's fantastic. And you can fold the middle one as far down as well if you want to. It's just absolutely brilliant. I think we'll just do it this way. There we go. Handy tip there, don't try to pull the handle and put it off. So you can see here that it's got actually Peugeot wide cockpit in here, which is different from all the other variants of this design. And you have to hold this button down for quite a long time, this starter button here. for it to do anything. So I've just put my foot on the brake there, handbrake's on, so we're not going to go anywhere anyway. There we go, so we're actually on. Dual zone climate control, automatic handbrake, although there's no auto hold function on that. You do have to just be wary of that. Drive mode selector is just here. There's the gear lever, using 2 buttons, and you know, there is a regen mode. That's quite fierce, that regen mode. Much nicer kind of you know, infotainment system than I've experienced in other Stellantis Group products up until this time. And actually, this kind of nice bronzy colour on the dash is it just livens up a bit. Actually, there's someone here as well, so it's not just all relatively black or grey. In here, I mean, look at the size of this and all the stuff you can fit in here. My mounts in there, my microphones in there, chuck the secret mission documents in there and other things. We'll have a go at the glove box. We might be a bit disappointed by the glove box because they've probably not moved the fuse box. Actually no, because we're on a left-hand drive car. It's actually better, but it's still not great. Still can't get the secret mission documents in. But on the on the right-hand drive cars, I wouldn't be expecting too much from that. But if you want to, you just put it up here, and there we go. So you don't lose it. That's no problem. Okay, so let's have a look at this, this screen then. So we can go back to the main menu here. We've got all kinds of connected things and vehicle apps. Obviously this is in English, you can have it in French if you want, but it's not very useful for most people. Parking assistance, automatic headlamp dimming, parking sensors, blind spot monitoring, traction control, tyre pressure monitoring. It's all here. All these different things you can sort of have a little play with. There we go. Charging function statistics are on here. Bluetooth telephone connectivity, of course. Media streaming. I'm not going to turn that on because I don't want any copyright infringement. Navigation. There we go. I think you can use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in here, which is probably what I would personally do that. But it says error not map, but actually it does show you where we are, so that's handy. Don't know what on earth this is for. I don't know what that's for. That's very, very strange. And also here, this is the top of the range model, and yet it's got some blanks. I don't know why that would be. Thankfully though, and unlike on many Stellantis products that I've seen, the heating and ventilation controls are actually separate, which is amazing. I'm really, really thankful for that. So there we go, we've got sort of display options in here. I think if I just go through it, oh, that's actually operates that one. Let's see if it operates this one. There we go, look. We've got driving, navigation, minimum, personal 1, personal 2, energy, I presume that's the range and things, and the dials. And there we go, we can have all sorts of exciting things to play with dials. So if you are in a persuasion of, you know, you want to customise all the dashboard to your heart's content, then that's what you can do. Oh, it's even got RTL Luxembourg on there. How appropriate. So you've got different things here. That's actually for child lock. That is for turning off, I think, the lane keeping assist, I imagine, which is good. That's probably a preheater and front screen heater as well. That's really good. You either like the Peugeot cockpit or you don't. I've driven a 208 before, which is where these controls come from, the previous generation 208, and you get used to it. Either you're a fan of it or you're not. It's just really up to you. Got all sorts of things up here as well. We've got little lights and SOS mode. I don't think that works over here because we're in a French specification car, but I'd like to see it's there. And actually the seat is pretty comfortable. Right, I suppose we'd better take a look under the bonnet and see what's not there. So here is the motor, the 134 brake horsepower electric motor. Also a 12-volt battery, of course, because electric cars also use 12-volt batteries. A lot of people forget about that, and they also use coolant, so there is the coolant. But in terms of getting to stuff, it doesn't look too bad actually. Obviously there's a lot of things from underneath, but it seems to fit quite neatly into here. Obviously that's one of the advantages of having a big van design for putting all the stuff in there, and the brake servo is right there, so the brakes are very good. So yeah, you know, you should be doing less maintenance than it equivalent, say, a petrol 1.2. You should be doing less maintenance anyway with an electric version, so you shouldn't have to go under there too much. And this one's done about 3,000 miles or something, which is very kindly put the display into miles for me, so that it's a bit even with the speed limits than would be in kilometres an hour. But yeah, van origins right there. The very, very kind of small opening and just a normal stay. Right, oh yes, which has also got an app which you can get, which obviously shows you all kind of things. You can preheat the battery and all sorts of things, and there we go. Even shows you, there's the range actually on there. I know that's not great because it's in direct sunlight, but suffice it to say, it's got an app which you can do all the usual things on there. Right, I think it's time to go for another drive, viewers. So, if you want to charge this car on a 7 kilowatt charger, then that will take about 7.5 hours. If you have a three-phase vehicle like this one, although unfortunately the British market ones are not, this is a three-phase one, and so you can charge it on an 11 kilowatt charger to full, which takes 4 hours and 45 minutes. The problem is though that if you don't have either of those options and you're just on a 3-pin emergency charger, I think they call them these days, then that is going to take, wait for it, 26 hours. So yeah, you better not be in a hurry to go anywhere if you only have access to a 3-pin charger. I'm just going to put that into the B mode. Oh yes, it's fantastic. I do like driving electric cars with regenerative braking. It's one of the most joyous things ever. Right, there we go. So yeah, even though I'm driving an eco, for this 40-mile-an-hour limit, it's absolutely fine. So what conclusions can we draw about the 2022 Peugeot e-Rifter GT? I think it really depends on what sort of thing that you're after. A lot of people would suit something like an MG5 or an MG ZSEV, which are a little bit cheaper than this and have a longer range, whatever battery size you're looking at. But the practicality of this and the ease of driving is amazing. Even the ride's really nice. So we've got speed bumps here that we're going over, it doesn't even notice them. The ride on the ZSEV is quite soft anyway, but this is maybe even better. So yes, it's quite a little handy size, although the fancy reversing cameras that this thing has, you do probably need them if you're not used to driving something of this size. But then if you're driving anything with 7 seats, then it's going to be big. That's just the way that it goes.